Hey, good morning. A bit of a late start for me today. Um, a bit of a late start. So I don't know. Sometimes I never know what I'm going to say when I come here to be with you in the morning. But what comes up, and I'll just tell you how it came actually. Um, um, I've really been enjoying watching this crazy show on Netflix. It's about a family, and dad's a hopeless alcoholic, and they've all got their stuff, and it's pretty well written, and but I I realized that the show itself has been affecting me, and I woke up this morning. It was like really clear. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't watch that show on Netflix. Certainly not, like I come home from work at kind of got to bed about 1 o'clock last night and watched it till 3, and I can't do that. And and then what the question that comes up is how committed, am I to my awakening? How committed am I, and to my connection with my higher power, with God as I understand Him, to the moment, to universal intelligence, to the thing that we can't even really speak of, you know, um, and how fragile is this to be exposed to, um, you know, uh, a lower vibration, and so I just get that. The low vibration can sneak in. It's like saying, well, I love to play pool, so I'm going to hang out at the bar and play pool. Well, if I'm hanging out at the bar playing pool, I'm not really in the vibration. I'm not hanging out with folks that have spiritual awakening or consciousness as a high vibration, and so I believe. My experience is that I have to be responsible for my own actions, and if my priority is to be awakened, to stay awakened, to continue to awaken, hi lovely, hi Tracy. If my priority is that, then you know what, I have to uh, look out for where I'm hanging out, what I'm reading, and the stuff I'm watching on YouTube or um, in the case of Netflix last night. So it's a real life example of, you know, um, the trick is though, most of us, and I say this because of experience of of years of having this kind of innate desire, knowing something was missing, knowing that there had to be more, but not getting, not realizing that the problem, the jail that I was in, was the jail of my own thinking, the jail of my own ego, the jail of my own small s self, and how do I bust out, you know, and help others to bust out? Well, I have to be focused and committed and persistent. You know, we can't just find a path and 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 after a month or two say, oh well, this is not working. I think I'll go back to my previous way of being, because our previous way of being for most of us wasn't. Hi love, hi Jennifer. Most of us wasn't working. We were restless, we were irritable, we were discontent, we were unhappy, we couldn't seem to make things work, we couldn't build and hold relationships, you know, and because we were living in a basically in a self-centered way, and so we had to move from a self-centered way to what, for want of a better word, I like to call a God-centered way, or a present-centered way. We have to be quiet and be conscious and aware, and as we are conscious and aware, we move into levels of acceptance and love, and you know, we're more of a pleasure to be with, even for ourselves. So my responsibility is to keep an eye on myself in what I do, where my actions are, you know, who I hang out with, if I want to live free. And having tasted freedom, true freedom, there's no question that you know, part of what I'd like to be able to do is to really also share that there's something more to you and to my friends and to the world, to let folks know that we don't have to live in, you know, and we don't need to become absolute scholars. Hello, David Stewart. We don't need to become absolute scholars to be free. You know, yes, we can kind of educate our way there, and it is a process sometimes. It doesn't have to be, though. We can just leave everything else behind. We can leave our fears behind. We can let go of our story, you know, and our story can be both ways. Don't you know who I am, the victim story? Don't you know who I am, the winner story? They're the same. We get attached to the story, and then we're attached to the persona, and the persona is always trying to look after itself. And when the persona is looking after itself, that's called selfish, self-centered, fear-driven generally. And then it's hard to kind of function, you know, because we're in that stickiness of trying to control the world, trying to manage, and most of us are not able to manage. I mean, we're able to function at a certain level, but there's a freedom level that's available. So for some of us, it's a process. It takes some time. We keep at it, you know. Recognize that, you know, the mind can't be trusted. The mind cannot be trusted. It's always going to feed you information based on fear. We have to step past the mind to a higher mind, a higher power, to love, to unconditional love. And we can't kind of do that by wanting. We have to do that by faith. We have to step into it. Hello, Ruth Ann. I love you, girl. Everybody, that's my sister, Ruth Ann McElwain. I love. So, that's it. We are responsible, you know, for the breaking out of the jail or not. And if we're living in the jail of fear and desire, judgment, guilt, in a moment we can be out of it. In a moment we can be out of it. Prayer can move us out of it. Surrender can move us out of it. Meditation can move us out of it. Helping others moves us out of it. So that's the deal. It's my story. I better do my little reading. Okay, I think, what is it? It's July what? Anybody remember? Is it the 18th? I think it's the 19th, isn't it? It is. So I'm still reading this book. Yesterday I talked about letting the book go and saying, you know, because it's quite antiquated. It's even, in some cases, it was written in 1954, some of the language is it's racist, you know. And so I reword it as I go sometimes, because it's like, holy shit. But in 1954, the world was a different place. And so there's some beautiful things in this book. And just sometimes the presentation is a little, I have to amend, amend for this man. July 19, AA Thought for the Day. So remember, this was written not even 20 years after Bill and Bob got together and the first, really, AA began, which was, I think, June the 10th, 35. Gossip, it says, gossip about or criticism of personalities have no place in the AA clubroom. So by that time they had Alano clubs and clubrooms. Hey, Trevor. Every man or woman in AA is a brother and a sister. Every woman is a sister, as long as he or she is a member of the 12-step world. We ought not to gossip about the relationships of any man or woman in the group. And if we say about a fellow member, I think he's taking a few drinks to the side, it's the worst thing we could do to that person. The man and the woman is not living up to the AA principles, or if he's had a slip, it's up to him or her to stand up in a meeting and say so. If he doesn't do that, he's only hurting himself. So I talk about other members behind their back. So it's interesting because in some cases, with some of the guys I work with, there's often 3 or 4 of us that are invested or are there as part of their recovery team, and so we talk. It's not gossip. We talk because we care about the man, and if and often the question is, have you seen so and so? Is he drinking? And that's coming from a place of love, not from a place of gossip. Yes. So we are here, we are our brother's keepers and sisters' keepers in this journey out of the trap of ego and selfishness and self-centeredness. Drinking, remember, using drugs and all the things that we go to are a symptom of our problem, of our unlivable life, not the cause of our problems, although they become the cause of our problem as time goes on as well. Meditation for the day. To God, a miracle of change in a person's life is only a natural happening. That's right, it's easy. But it is a natural happening operated by spiritual forces. There's no miracle in personalities too marvelous to be an everyday happening. There is no miracle in personalities too marvelous to be an everyday happening. But miracles happen only to those who are fully guided and strengthened by God. So that's what I was just saying, that, where we hang out makes a difference. Where we hang out makes a difference. I was talking to a fellow last night. I work on Saturday nights at a treatment center. And we were talking about the steps, and I said to him, in my early days in recovery, I couldn't even read the book hardly. I was so mentally, emotionally, and spiritually screwed up. I couldn't even, and so all I did, and what I, was I would go to meetings, 12-step meetings, sometimes 3 a day, to be in the energy. I didn't know where else to find it. To be in the energy, that unconditional love that's in those rooms, and so I went. And I just, sat there, and in those days we still had ashtrays. I was clean ashtrays and do dishes, and we actually, in some of the rooms I went, we had, kitchens and coffee, and we weren't bringing it in from a coffee shop. There weren't coffee shops like that then. Seems like a long time ago, but I was committed and I didn't know the how. I just knew that when I went to those meetings, I was lifted up. A miracle was happening. And as time went on, I got kind of well enough to be able to really digest and integrate and work with the steps of recovery. And You know, I did pray a lot too in those days. I didn't know what I was praying to, but I just did pray a lot. Read that last part again. Marvelous changes in people's natures happen so simply, and that they are free from all other agency than the grace of God. But these miracles have been prepared for by days and months of longing for something better. Just like I said, there's accompanied by a real desire to conquer self and to surrender one's life to God. So that's the deal, you guys. We are in a prison of ourselves. And it's serious business, because the prison says it's not our fault. The prison says, no, it's their fault. The prison says that, you know, we've been victimized, and the bars are made of stories of those, you know, stories of againstness and stories of anger and resentment. They're not real, and in minutes they can fall away. In minutes they can fall away. It's beautiful. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may expect miracles in the lives of people. Pray that I may be used to help people change. That is my prayer. So that's it, you guys. You know, we can become free. We really can. To be happy, joyous, and free. To live the promises of peace and freedom of fear. It can happen. So it's happening all around you and all around me. So, you know, dig in and you know, get the oar out. We've got to row this boat. You know, we've got to keep this thing on, and pray that we can, that we have the strength. That every day in my prayers I ask God to give me strength. Yeah, because my biggest enemy, of course, is my crazy mind. Can't be trusted. Can't be trusted. Always thinks it's got my best interest at hand, but what happens is that then if it's running the show with what it thinks is my best interest, it puts everybody else aside, and I can't function, and can't be in the world, because and then what we do is we separate from everybody when we're in our selfish, and we recluse. Yeah. So love you guys. Love you, love you, love you. Thanks so much for allowing me to be here with you this morning. And Monday night coming up really soon. That's tomorrow night. You know, we have a meditation evening that we do at 7 o'clock, and it's on Zoom, and it's on Facebook Live, and sometimes we can even restream it to YouTube at the same time. It works. But I'd like to invite some of you to come to my house. Small group here. We'll sit together. We'll talk about the recovery things, life of recovery. Yeah. So come visit us. Love you guys. Hopefully see you tomorrow night. Well, tomorrow morning we'll do this again in some way. Okay, cheers. Bye.